Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a bit of a different one because we are going on kind of a world building journey. This video is going to be all about mother's journey in Ragtime, which is basically a woman's journey from 1906 to 1916. Now, you probably know a lot about history as well if you're watching this channel, but basically 1906 to 1916, it's only 10 years, but oh my God, what a 10 years. Things changed absolutely so immensely from the 1900s through the 19-teens, and a woman's journey likewise went on that same really drastic change from the aughts to the teens. And in particular in the story of Ragtime, which is a wonderful musical. If you're not familiar, I highly recommend that you go listen to it on Spotify. But in Ragtime, Mother really goes on a huge journey from just being your basic average woman of a house, you know, a wife, a mother, nothing else really going on in her life, to really taking charge of her own life and really making the choices and the decisions and choosing what to do with her life and how to react to all of the situations and all of the changes that are happening all around her. And it's really an absolutely amazing character to play. I am so thankful that I finally get to play her. This has been a dream role of mine since high school. And I just really am enjoying bringing her to life. And to be honest, I'm also kind of enjoying the fact that I am actually costuming myself for this show. Obviously, I have a wealth of costumes from all sorts of eras, but in particular, I really have a lot from this time period, so much so that I have at least 4 costumes that I am not even using in this show that are all in my costume wardrobe. Yeah, so I'm costuming myself because I am performing this at a community theater, and you know, budgets, particularly post-COVID being what they are, I just kind of wanted to help out and also make sure that I look good the entire time. So I'm using my own costumes. As you've been seeing in my sewing vlogs, I have also been making 3 costume pieces for myself for this show, one of which I was going to make anyway, and one of which is all stashed, so it really doesn't matter. And you know, now I have another Edwardian costume piece, which you will see shortly in this. So because I am costuming myself for this, I thought it would be fun to go on this kind of costume world building adventure with you here on YouTube and show you all of the costumes that I am going to be wearing in this show, and also why. Because these are all character-based costumes. So that's why there are costumes in my closet that I'm not using, because they just don't fit in with Mother and her journey through this time period. So all of the costumes that I'm wearing that I'm going to show you here today, they do fit in, and that is why I'm wearing them. So to start off with, at the very opening of the show, Ragtime has a spectacular opening number where you have the 3 groups, because there's kind of 3 groups of people. You have the Black Americans, the immigrants, and the New Rochelle white Americans. And you have all of them kind of how they relate to each other in this time period. And that all really is exemplified by the opening number where you literally have them in groups. And so in this, we have lyrics like ladies with parasols or lavender pink, lemon and lime. Like, you see all of these examples of the New Rochelle in their white pastels, etc. Just that classic Edwardian image. So that is what I am wearing here. We have an immensely large hat. I actually made both the hat and the sash for an different costume way back in 2012, and then this shirtwaist blouse comes from my jumper dress that I made in 2020, and this white skirt is from my 1890s summer outfit that I made last year in 2021. And that's one of the wonderful things about this period as well, is that we really start to get into separates a lot. And so for theater, that is fantastic because we can mix and match, we can layer, we can pair different items with each other, and again, kind of create that wardrobe, just like you and I would pull from our closets. We might pull this skirt with this top or this top with that skirt. And that is what we get to do in this time period, and what is especially helpful for theater. So I am actually wearing this blouse the entire first act. I was at first going to change my blouse to another one, And then I realized that the other blouse, which has a narrow head opening, it's the Gap blouse, if you know that like Victorian Edwardian blouse that everyone bought a couple of years ago from the Gap, it doesn't have a large enough neck opening to fit over my wig. I am wearing a wig for this show. I know it's the same color as my hair, but this is a wig because I don't have this much hair. And I need something to help support the hats as well, because hats of this era basically require you to either have copious amounts of hair or to be wearing a wig or to be wearing multiple hair pieces. So here we are. I have this absolutely fabulous hat. I am only wearing it for the opening number because hats like this kind of suck for lighting designers because they have to figure out how to light you without this hat. So literally, even though I'm wearing the same costume for the first 2 times that I'm on stage, I have already taken the hat off by the second time. So let's take a look at this full costume when Mother is at the beginning of her journey and she is not making her own choices and she's just going with the flow of what her husband says, what her son needs, etc. By the time we see Mother for the second time, she has kind of settled into the role without Father there. Because in the first scene, her husband actually goes off on an expedition to try to get to the Arctic Circle. So here is Mother by herself. She's now really the woman of the house, taking care of everything. And the second scene here takes place in a garden and is really the catalyst for the rest of the show because she finds a baby in the garden. And that's not what you're supposed to find when you are digging in the dirt. So she now has to make decisions for herself. What do I do with the baby? What happens to the baby's mother who is found, etc. And so this scene, although we are starting off and we look very much in that same vein of the first one, the pastels and everything, this scene is where everything changes for Mother. But she's at home, she's working in the garden. I may have an apron that will go with this as well, but this is the outfit. It is the new skirt that I just made along with that same blouse. So this outfit is actually not quite finished yet. I still am going to be making a corset belt for this, so look for that in next week's vlog video in just a few days. But this is a business-like outfit. So in this scene, Mother is actually going off on a train trip with her son to take care of Father's affairs at the fireworks factory that he owns. And so she is headed off to be businesslike. And there's a line about, that's why I'm wearing this very unflattering dress. We have to look businesslike if we're going to take care of Father's affairs while he's away. And so that is why I've been making this outfit here. We have our cropped Eton style jacket and it will tuck into the corset belt with the exception of these little lapels right here. So we'll have a black corset belt right here and that will hide this gap that you see where the blouse is right now. And then we have the matching skirt to the jacket and we have kind of a plain straw hat with navy band and a little bow over here. And of course gloves because we're off on this train journey. So this is the first time that we see Mother in darker colors. And here these darker colors are meant to be businesslike. And so, you know, you have to be a little bit more somber when you are being businesslike, as she says. And that is why we have a very suit-like outfit going on here. We are now back to this costume for, I think this is what, the 4th scene at this point. And here we have Mother at home again. And in this scene, this is where Coalhouse, who is the father of that found baby, Coalhouse comes to the door for the first time to find Sarah, not even knowing about the baby. But he comes there to find Sarah and court her and win her back. And so this is the development of their relationship. So Mother is really kind of almost a background character for a lot of this, because it's really all about Coalhouse and Sarah in this scene. She's just the woman who owns this house. And so we're back to our sort of at-home wear of the new lavender skirt with the blouse. And towards the end of this scene, Father comes home from his travels, and we realize that while Mother has grown and changed a lot in the show so far, Father is exactly the same person he was when he left home, and he is very surprised to find Black people in his home, Mother carrying a Black baby, etc. And he just has a very closed mind compared to how Mother has already developed so much in this story. So although we are back to a costume that we have seen before, Mother really is already a changed woman. Now, I also will be wearing this outfit another time without the hat and without the gloves. And the jacket may or may not be tucked into the belt this other time. I haven't quite decided yet, but for this, it is actually for a funeral, because here's more spoilers for you if you have not seen Ragtime, but Sarah is actually killed. And this is for Sarah's funeral. And so obviously I can't just wear like a white blouse for the funeral, so it seemed appropriate to put the jacket back on for that to make things a little bit more somber. Now, that is, again, a huge thing that has changed Mother, because here's a woman that she's taken into her home, that she's befriended, whose child she's almost kind of helping to raise at this point, or baby that she's helping to raise. And this woman is actually beaten by police at a presidential rally, vice presidential rally. So this is not a happy show. And it is really, really sad to see that the same sort of things are happening now as were happening then, and or even if you want to look at it in the cases as were happening in the 90s when this show was written, or the, I think, 80s or 70s when this book was written. Unfortunately, a lot of the things in this historical set show are still extreme problems in this country. So anyway, to go back to Mother's world, when she's wearing this again, it is for not happy reasons. And really, Mother has already shifted by this point, because in the prior scene to the funeral, when she is talking to Sarah, Coalhouse's car has been wrecked as an act of racism. And so in that scene, I wear this without the jacket. But already we can tell this is a serious scene. I'm wearing a serious skirt, not light floaty colors, and I have the just plain shirtwaist blouse, because there's really not enough time to change the blouse throughout the first act, particularly because it's a back closing blouse. Yeah, I know, Edwardian clothes were not meant for quick changes. But here we are, and this again then is the train station scene, and then we go back to the purple outfit. Now again, from the purple outfit, we come back to this, and then we put the jacket back on for the funeral, and those are our Act 1 costumes. So let's go ahead and jump forward a few years to Act 2. This is the opening costume for Act 2. Now, in Act 2, we have kind of decided that time has moved on a bit, because again, we do have to get through 10 years in this show. So time has moved on a bit, and we're probably looking more like just about 1910-ish by the time we get here. And so what's going on with this outfit is this is actually a dress, not a blouse, but you will find out more about that in the next scene. But what's happening in these scenes is that Coalhouse and his men are kind of wreaking havoc on New York in response to what has happened to Sarah. And so everything is really very somber, a little bit afraid, and just very toned down, and that is why we have brought back the dark skirt. However, we do have this lighter blouse, because at the same time, while the family is watching all of this happen, they are not really involved yet until this scene, actually, when younger brother does go off to get involved. And so mother is really just taking care of the baby at this point, and everything is really very somber, and she is kind of in her heart already split from father here, so that's why we have everything being very somber. And so this is that same skirt from earlier. I've pulled it up a little bit on the waistline because I'm actually wearing a new corset. I'm wearing a 19-teen style corset, and I will most likely be wearing the black belt with it as well, but again, I haven't made that yet, so you don't get to see it. But this is that outfit. This is Mother's outfit when she first arrives in Atlantic City in Act 2. And I felt like this was just perfect because by this point we have moved into the early 19-teens, or at least we kind of have to have just to be able to wind up by 1916 in the epilogue. So we're in the early 19-teens here, hence the much slimmer shape of this dress. It is much more columnar. We have a different corset, which I was already wearing in the previous scene as well, but it's much more obvious that I'm wearing this different corset shape in this outfit as opposed to the previous outfit, which really harkened back more to the Act 1 costumes. So this is that outfit, and this is the blouse that you saw with the previous skirt, but it is the dress. So this has to be underdressed because it's a pretty quick change from one to the other, and that way all that I need to do is remove the skirt and put on a hat and I'm good to go. Potentially put on the gloves, but I don't know yet what the director will say about the gloves in this scene. We may wind up striking them. This is the same dress that is then worn for the next scene, which contains the song Our Children. And it's kind of, spoiler alert, where Mother starts to realize how good of a man Tata is. That's all I'm gonna say. You'll have to come see the show to find out more of that story. But she kind of realizes how alike they are, even though they are so absolutely different. And in that song, my guess is most likely that I will be removing the hat and gloves, but this is the same dress that I'll be wearing in that song. This dress was made based off of, I believe it's a butterick pattern. I'll put the number right up here. And it was really a very easy project. I think I made this in about a week a few years ago, though I did do a lot of alterations to the pattern to make it this. So here in this costume, we kind of see a lot of the ladies in white type trope that we get at the beginning of the show, but we are again now in a different year and in a different setting. And it almost feels like as the time changes from the aughts to the teens, where we really see a lot of stylistic changes, we also see a lot of changes inside Mother. And so as the dresses become less and lighter, Mother in a way also becomes lighter and more open. So I love that journey for her. By this point in the show, which is almost the end of the show, Mother has really just about completed her journey. And in fact, in this scene, she sings the song Back to Before and realizes and tells the audience that we can never go back to before. What's done is done. Why didn't you grow when I grew? Basically, I am a new person. I am a new woman. I am my own woman. And you were my husband, but I don't need you anymore. Kind of the gist of the song, which is wonderful for her to have come into her own right as a woman. This scene takes place on the beach in Atlantic City after a storm and is the last time that we see Mother until the epilogue of the show. You were my sky, my moon, and my stars, and my ocean. We can never go back to before. We can never go back to before. This costume consists of a blouse that was actually purchased from Old Navy in 2012, I believe, and a linen skirt that I made the same year. And the linen skirt, I don't remember the pattern, but it is from a book, because I know I was not buying any patterns then. So it is from some sort of book, and it closes up the top of the side with hooks and eyes that are hidden underneath this row of fake buttons. And then this is just a velvet ribbon that has been sewn on to an antique clasp. And that's it for this outfit, plain and simple. So I'm not actually positive yet whether or not I will be wearing this outfit for the epilogue, but that is my plan because the epilogue, like any good epilogue, takes place after the action of the story. And in fact, in this case, it takes place all the way in 1916 because Father mentions that he was killed in the sinking of the Lusitania and that Mother then wore black for a year, and here's your spoiler, that she marries Tata. And so it has to have been at least a year after the Lusitania, aka 1916. So here we are in a very different style than we were previously. I will know by the time this video goes out, and probably by the time I edit it, if I am in fact going to wear this costume or not, as I do hope to, but it does seem a little bit superfluous to change just for the epilogue. But I mean, if I have the costume, why not? So I will find out and I will let you know if I do actually get to wear this or not. So anyway, that is the end of this costuming journey for Mother, as this is potentially the last costume and the end of our 10-year journey. So as you can see, as time changes, Mother changes as well, and she really becomes a modern woman, kind of in the sense even of today's modern woman, making decisions for herself and taking charge of herself and of her family. And I'm just so absolutely thrilled that I'm finally getting to play this part that has been my dream role since I was in high school. It's been a wonderful process so far, and I'm so looking forward to all of our performances. If you are in the Puget Sound area and you would like to come see the show, again, I have linked all of that information down below in the description on how you can get tickets, and we run every weekend through June. This is 2022 if you are watching this long into the future. I hope that you have enjoyed this really very different video from me. I mean, I've never done like a character building type video, but if this is something that you enjoyed, let me know and maybe I can kind of do this again, whether or not it's because I'm in a show or whether I'm just taking a whole bunch of historical costumes and creating a character out of them. I don't know, or maybe building costumes for a specific character. The ideas. Anyway, just let me know if you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please do go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube twice a week with my sewing vlogs out on Tuesdays and other really random costuming content like this out on Saturdays. But I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Sharon, Julie, and Mirage. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!